Falcon Talk, where we discuss all things martial arts. And right now, I have two good friends on. I have Sandy and Francis. Say
What
good
up?
evening to everybody. Yep. And what's the topic of today? It's self-defense for the non-martial artist. Okay. Since Sandy was your topic, would you want to lead into this?
Sure. I know that there are a lot of people out there who aren't into the idea of like training for years on end. Like we discussed a couple of weeks ago, where do we think that self-defense should be a life skill that's taught? I absolutely agree. So when I was talking to Ferdy, I said maybe there are a couple of techniques we could actually talk about online for anybody who's listening to who all of a sudden will be like, yeah, I could use that if I'm out and about or ever attacked. Mm-hmm. So that's what brought up the thing. And I know you can't see us, but I mean the things that we can discuss, the simple things, you don't really need to be seen, just describe, and that could help as someone out there who might get attacked in the future to be able to defend themselves.
Okay. You have anything to would you like to say anything, Francis?
Well, yeah, excuse me. When I first came to this country when I was 9 years old, I got bullied. I got bullied every day for the first full year, right? And then when the following year, the same bullies were there again, right? So my father was a pacifist. He didn't like the idea of me doing martial arts at all. So I couldn't learn how to train. So I had to learn how to be quick-witted and had to learn how to be funny. So it's like when you're the funny kid in school, nobody really wants to jump you, Uh-huh. So I guess in a sense, the one thing that I will, if a parent doesn't want to teach or can't teach their kids some sort of formal self-defense courses, then they better learn some verbal jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
They need to learn how to pacify the situation. They need to learn how to lower themselves, or in the Filipino word, pakumbaba, to humble themselves, so that
stay under the radar.
Yeah, maybe not under the radar, but definitely like
under the crosshairs,
Yeah, but for example, if they push you, you're the one apologizing. Mm-hmm. If you don't have any formal fighting techniques or formal fighting training, self-protection training, then you better be good at verbal jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. It's like when one of the things I used to say with the kid the guy that beat me up, I was like, yeah, I bet your fist hurt from hurting my face, all punching my face, right? That's how I get you back. Mm-hmm. So that's you just gotta you better learn how to make them make everybody love you, because what a bully does, from what I understand about the psyche of a bully, is that they want adulation and fear, right? Because they equate that as respect, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're the most lovable, if you're the funniest guy in the group, then attacking you gives the opposite effect of what's going to happen. And that's going to end up leaving you alone, right? So being able to just kind of be able to, like I said, use verbal jiu-jitsu, use your mouth, use your brain to get out of the situation. Yeah, is a lot. If you're not going to let your kids train, that would be my best suggestion. Mm-hmm. Because anything else, no. YouTube training, it's not good enough, guys.
Yeah. There is a separation between self-defense and martial arts, okay? Yeah. And there are, believe it or not, there are martial arts schools that teach little self-defense. Little self-defense. I've been to one. that it's just it's really like not a priority. Not a priority. Okay, I think but I think self-defense. To me, you can teach self-defense. You can teach fighting. You can teach all those in a martial arts school. But there are martial arts schools that don't teach that. There are a lot of martial arts schools don't teach a lot of things that self-defense schools will teach, or self-defense programs will teach. The problem with self-defense programs, in my view, is that, like a woman will take a class, maybe a month class, maybe 4 weeks, right? So she has 4 weeks of self-defense classes, and that's it. That's where her training ceases. So now let's say, fast forward 5 years. It's 5 years into the future, and she gets attacked. Is she going to remember, or is her body going to react to the attack from the self-defense classes that she took 5 years prior?
It depends on the class.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have a class that's only a week long, and they focus on making sure that the woman learns, you gotta gouge out the eye, to carry your keys. Literally, this is the simplest self-defense technique that any woman. And if you start doing it, it becomes habit. When you walk with your keys, have them sticking out between your fingers. Okay.
Not Wolverine.
Not Wolverine. But have one sticking up between your fingers.
I will show the audience. Okay.
Okay. And the reason for that.
This is Wolverine. This is not Wolverine. Hold it between your thumb and basically, in FMA, it's our makeshift knife.
Yeah, makeshift claw.
It's your
now,
knife.
You could have a month-long class and try to teach them all these punches and kicks and stuff like that. But you can have a 2-hour self-defense course and tell a woman to do that. That's one of the main things. And have her practice doing that every single day. And then have that become such a habit to her that, yes, 5 years later, she's been carrying those keys like that all the time. When she's get attacked, there's a really good chance she's going to poke his eye out with that.
Well,
in her mind, that's why she's carrying her keys.
she can remember that, but is she going to have the mindset to do it?
Yeah, so Ferdy, in response to what you're saying, excuse me, sorry about that.
No, don't apologize, brother.
So I'm the only hardened target certified instructor here in Riverside and Inland Empire here in Southern California. And hardened target was developed by Grandmaster Tom Sippin with 30 years of teaching.
You know what? I've heard that. Hard target. I've heard that.
Hardened target, yeah. So it is basically, the program is designed for somebody to learn self-defense from as little as 2 hours or 4 hours or 6 hours, depending on how much time they want to commit to it, right? Mm-hmm. So I use the hardened target as a fundraiser thing for me, right? So anytime somebody tells me, hey, can you do a fundraiser? Can you help us raise some money? I'm like, yes, I can. I can do a hardened target session. And then, all the proceeds go to whatever, money that they're trying to raise it with, right?
I like that, brother. I like that.
Thank you. So the thing about the hardened target system, it's not so much about the techniques, but it's just giving them, trying to get them to just kind of drill it into their brain what to do. Like, just throw something, right? Mm-hmm. Throwing something is better than throwing nothing, right? So the way that it works is we first teach them the technique. Then after they're confident with that, we teach them how to, we build up their confidence. So basically, if there's a person holding a kicking shield and they're punching it, they're learning the technique, and then we increase their confidence by letting them really hit the bag, and then the person is being pushed back, right? The one holding the shield. Mm-hmm. And then we add the stressor, and this is the most important part. The stressor then becomes we add so much stress to them that the technique goes out the window, but they're still throwing something. Mm-hmm. Right?
So they're working on the gross motor skills.
Right, exactly. So the stressor is the one that's the key there. Now, part of the program with the Hardened Target program is that we actually do a very small lecture, for example. So part of the things that we talked about, like I said, if you're not going to learn how to really defend, really commit and give some real time to learning some martial arts program, the Hardened Target, we're trying to give you a different mindset. Like, one of the things that I always tell anybody really is both men and women, it doesn't really matter what gender, is that try to park as close to the main entrance as possible. Right now, I know a lot of people, both men and women, have told me this. I like to park far because it's a good exercise,
Yeah.
right? But the problem with that is the cameras of the security cameras are all pointed to keep things inside that building. Like if we're going to a Costco, all the cameras are pointed to stuff that's inside the building. The further you are away from the front door, the less cameras that there are going to be. Well, guess who else knows that? Criminals know that.
Yep.
Right? Criminals know that. So I always tell them, like, the further you are from the front door, the greater the danger grows exponentially, right? So if you have to circle the parking lot 6, 7, 18 times to find a good spot, then by all means do that, right?
I'm writing this down.
So we talk about that, and then we do the technique. We show them a bunch of technique, and then towards the end of the day, we'll teach them 2, 3, maybe 4 techniques, depending on how much time that we have. And then we add that stressor, and then that's when they finally realize, like, holy crap, this is hard. I'm like, yes, you really think that the person attacking you is just going to stand there and let you hit them? No, they're going to try to fight back, or they're going to try to do something to you. You got to keep swinging. You better throw something, and, just do something. So part of that is hopefully 5 years from now, they'll remember, just throw something, just throw something, So that stressor is the most, in my opinion, within the hardened target system, is the most important aspect of the self-protection training of that day.
And so let me ask you this, Francis.
Sure.
First of all, thank you. I just wrote that, the park your car thing, because, I'll tell you the reason why, too, when I'm developing. But, so how do you add the stressor? You have everybody yelling, you have, trying to...
Well, for example, one of the things that we were teaching is the palm strike, right? Palm. We're telling them to say palm. Again, I mean, part of the reason why we have to say the word palm is because your brain is like it's a computer, right? And you remember stuff by how much data you give it, right? But the data entry part is using your senses, right? So when they can feel it, when they're feeling how the palm goes out, they can feel that's the tactile sense. When they're seeing it, that's the visual sense. But now when they're hearing it, that's a third sense, that the auditory sense that's going to help them create the synapses to help them remember it into their brain, right? So they're doing it. So they're like, okay, I'm learning the technique. I'm learning palm. And then we're like, okay, now push back the guy. They're like, okay, palm. And then you see the guy being pushed back. And then after all that, I said, okay, now holder, fight back now, right? So the person holding is actually pushing them with the shield now. They're like, so now that game of tug of war, right? Basically, it's kind of the reverse opposite, where we're trying to push them, trying to push them further back, and their job is to push the other guy back, but the person's not going backwards. They're moving forward, so they have to keep punching and throwing until the engagement is done, right? Until the danger is no longer existing. So that's how we add the stressors. Yeah, we do the yelling. I even flicker the lights if I have control of the lights.
Oh, that's cool. Like a nightclub setting.
Exactly. I mean, because the whole idea here is, I'm not no scientist. I can play one on TV though. The idea here is that, like I said, we're trying to program your brain, right?
Yeah, keep on going.
So we're trying to program your brain, but then if we disrupt all your senses, your hearing, your visual, right? When you're flickering the lights, it's harder for them to disorientate them even further. The more you disorientate them, the easier it is. I mean, we see the real fighter comes out, right? So there's a saying in my school that I always tell my students all the time: if you can fight tired, you can fight anytime, right? So that's why we do the stressor towards the end of the program, after like hours of kicking and striking, and just really pound them out, right? And then I like, for example, in my school, not on the hardened target system, but in my school, when we're training, I don't allow them to drink water until I say so, right? And then they always ask me, like, why not? I'm like, you think in a real fight you're going to be able to tell the guy attacking you, hold on, water break. Give me a second, let me get some water. You want to hydrate too, brother? They don't do that. You got to be able to fight. If you can fight thirsty, you can fight anytime. You can fight tired, you can fight anytime. If you can fight disoriented, you can fight anytime.
I like that. I like that. I'm glad I'm recording this so I can get make more notes. But
I kind of want to piggyback off of what Francis was saying about parking the car as close as possible. What he does when I don't know if I'm sure he realizes it, but I don't know if you notice it. When he tells somebody who's used to parking far away because they want to get their exercise, that's a danger that they're putting themselves in.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's a shock to them because all of a sudden they realize, oh God, I've been putting myself in danger for how long now?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So that will be something that sticks with them 1, 2, 3, 5 years down the line. Because imagine being told that you were doing something that could have gotten yourself killed. The next time they get in that parking lot, they'll start to drive towards the end of the parking lot and they go, oh, wait a minute, nope, not going to do this.
Right.
Go around to the front. It's a shock to the system. So, like you were saying with the keys, are they going to, 5 years from now, are they going to, if they're constantly putting their keys in that position when they go to leave somewhere, their mind is telling them to hold the keys right there for protection. So, yes, they're always wiring their brain. You're doing it to be able to protect yourself. You may never need to use it, but then that one time you do. You've been telling yourself this for 5 years. That's why you're doing it.
Right.
You're gonna protect yourself with
that. That's a good. I like that park the car because, I could tell that also to like my sister and to my things like that, like family members. Give
so
that
I just want to make sure that. I just want to make sure that you guys also keep in mind that our society is gearing towards a keyless lifestyle now.
Yes.
Keyless door entry, keyless entry to your home.
Yes.
So, we're going to have to readapt pretty soon.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to readapt pretty soon. So.
Yeah.
Well, then
that's all right. I'll always have my Kubaton. Oh, you guys can't see. I got my Kubaton.
Yeah, so I was going to say with your keychain. Not a keychain, excuse me. Your fob chain, because you have your key fob.
Yeah.
Your fob chain.
Okay. So.
The stabby thing.
So,
right.
To the thing, right? So, in order to do any kind of physical, anything physical, for example, picking up a bottle of water and walking across the room, okay? Anything physical, you needed two of three conditions must be present, okay?
Okay.
And those conditions were vision, breathing, and balance. Now, if you took away vision, a blind person can do that. Could pick up a bottle of water and walk across the room. Okay.
Right.
But now let's say you took away two of those conditions. You took away vision and breathing. All right. Okay. So it would be hard for them to do that task. You attack the vision or breathing and balance. The same thing.
Right.
Okay. So now you put that into a physical attack. Right? So they have where you interrupt the vision, you interrupt the breathing, and you interrupt the balance.
Okay.
Okay. Interrupting the vision, attacking the eyes.
Right.
All right. So you teach attack the eyes. Like the eyes. You can attack the breathing. Palm strike to the nose, hammer strike to the nose, right? Or even to the throat, all right? And then, do you guys know what an osotogari is?
No.
No.
Osotogari, it's a throw where you put your, and it's usually done by the big guys. And what they do is they put their foot, like your right foot in back of your opponent, and you just, as you push, you sweep your foot up. That's a osotogari. Okay. So now you can do that. Say you attack the breathing with the hammer fist to the nose. Now you do a palm strike to the throat. At the same time doing a osotogari. So you attack also the breathing and the balance. Okay.
Right.
There are other ways, of course, you can attack the balance. You can, a stomp to the knee, break the leg.
Right.
Okay, but those are the three things that I stress, and even for somebody that took a course And then after 5 years, if they just remember that, vision, breathing, balance.
Right.
Vision, yes, I'm a firm believer of concept, principle, and then technique.
Right.
Like the concept of what are you doing, principle of why it works, and then technique is how.
Right.
And if you could master concept and principle, you can come up with different techniques.
Of course.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's like, to me, the way I do it is like the analogy I say is we all learn ABC. We all learn DOD is dog, CAT is cat. We all learn to construct sentences. I am running. We understand nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. We prepositions. We learn central structure for sentences. Then we build it into paragraphs. Okay, but do we all speak the same? Do we all write the same? No. We all have our okay? So that's kind of like how I like to build it. It's like I'm going to give you the building blocks, okay?
Right.
That. And I'll show you the techniques that will prove the principles are there and the concept and it'll work. And then you know what? You can come up with your own too. But as long as you know that, I attack the vision, the eyes. I attack the breathing. I attack the balance.
Right.
And those are the things that I drill in.
Ferdy, I'm going to interrupt you because this is kind of a tangent. One, I'm going to do a mixed thing.
That's all right. When I put it out, I'll edit it out.
Okay. The second thing is, I like what you're saying. Absolutely. But that's for somebody who's going to train consistently over and over again so that, it's in their mind. But those techniques that you gave, that throw, that, that's something you have to practice. What is the one
but I'm just saying, what I'm saying is that I'm giving an example of how, there are other ways to disrupt the balance. One of my favorite is what the kids call the dead leg. And it's the dead leg is actually you're kneeing that, and that's you're hitting gallbladder 32, and that's a real you hit the dead leg, gallbladder 32. But I'm going to give you guys the secret on how to lessen the deaden the pain.
Wow.
It's weird.
I kind of want to get at that thing now just to feel that.
Yeah. But don't worry, I'm gonna edit that out. So
But here's my question to the two of you.
Okay.
I'm somebody you just met. I'm a woman. I'm 5'1". I know nothing of martial arts. I know nothing of training.
Wait, martial arts or martial arts?
Martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
Martial arts. Now, you just met me, and I start telling you that there's some creepy guy, I think, that's been following me. What is the one technique you're going to talk to me about right then and there that you know that I'll be able to do to protect myself within the next 10 minutes? Go.
Ferdy, leave her alone.
Hmm?
That's what I would say. Ferdy, he's the creepy guy.
No, I'm just a creep. Hey, no, I'm not a creepy guy. I got game, bro. I got game.
So what thing? Run away.
You want me? Okay, no, you can't run away. You have to defend yourself. You have to protect yourself.
Okay, well now you're adding more parameters.
Yeah, no, that's. I was asking her that.
Kick him in the nuts.
There you go.
No, you know what I would do?
What would you do?
I would take my keys, I would put it in the key thing, and I would turn.
I don't even need to put my key in the key thing. I just gotta drop my fob and my cup holder and just.
Oh yeah, you're what do you call you're short. I wouldn't to you. Not even don't even kick him in the nuts. Do monkey finds the pearl or monkey finds the pear.
I have no idea what that is.
Monkey finds the pear, where the monkey grabs onto the nuts and squeezes.
Yeah, you just plug into the,
Ooh.
Monkey never heard of it. Not bad.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch more kung fu movies. especially on El Rey Network Sundays, 6 to 6.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So honestly, I mean, it's kind of like honestly, like for me, Runaway is always the best thing, right?
Yeah.
But like one of the things that I always tell people is like, one of the things you can do also is not just run away, but run away crossing the street. For example, because it's harder, it's and then make a big commotion, just scream, get everybody's attention as much as possible.
What would you scream?
Who, me?
Fire.
Fire! Fire!
Fire! Yep.
Fire! Because, and the reason being yelling fire is because
get everybody's attention.
Yeah. It's like if you put everybody else in danger too. Yeah, you're bringing them into the equation.
Right, exactly.
That's what it is.
So,
fire!
Mm-hmm. But that's me. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's what I would do. That's what I would advise. That newbie about that. But honestly, it's like the question: if somebody came up to me and says, what I just need to know for like really quickly for able to defend myself, and I would ask him, do you really find yourself in that situation a lot? Right? And then it could go both ways, but the answer, my response will always be the same. If they say yes, then a 2-minute tutorial is not enough. If they say no, then a 2-minute tutorial is still not enough. Because it's like this is your life, right? If you're good at anything, it takes more than 2 minutes, right? It takes more than I've actually had somebody come up to me where his wife is an adjunct professor at a local university here, right? And he said, I'm planning to buy my wife a knife. Can you show me some techniques of of how to use that? Because she's walking through campus, and I'm like, the likelihood of the knife being used against your wife is higher than your wife being able to use it against her attacker, right? And so it's just like, no, just there's no 2-minute tutorial. Right? I mean, ultimately, when people are asking me, the problem is with the instant gratification thing is that there's people in our industry that's trying to appease that instant gratification thing. I mean, basically, if there was no option, right? If there's no option, then they have to go through the system, right? But it seems like and this is what my biggest issue with a lot of people in whatever industry, as a marketing consultant, I always tell them, do you believe in the product that you're selling? In our case, do you believe in the system that we're practicing, right? And if you believe that, if you have passion in your heart about it, why the hell are you begging people to take it? Right? And that's the whole idea of instant gratification. We're like, we need people to learn this. No, they don't.
You know what? I'm kind of like the opposite because I don't own a school and I just teach for fun. But the way I look at it, and it's just going to be a little tangent. The way I look at it is like, martial arts, that's my superpower, And also it's like, we have a little society, we have a little community,
Right.
That's the way I kind of look at it. It's like, we have our own community, and sometimes you teach these people, you don't want to teach the wrong person their superpower, and then you don't want to, but that's kind of how I look at it, because then again, I'm not a school owner, and I don't, it's not like, I don't have it as my livelihood. So that's kind of like the way I look at it. I know people say like, why aren't more people doing this? It's like, why aren't more people doing this system? You know what? Why aren't there more people doing martial arts? Forget about just your system.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, okay?
Go ahead.
For the people we know who take martial arts, for you, for me, for Ferdy, for Tom, for Mick, for Andres, for Kempo Joe, for the people we know, that's a passion we have for it.
Right.
Okay? It's a passion. There are people out there who don't have that same passion. Okay? But that person.
Well, I'm not going to say the same passion. They have passion for everything else. They don't something else. They don't have passion
Right.
for
They don't have the same passion for martial arts. They don't have the same passion for learning how to physically, be aggressive in that respect and protect, to fight. They don't want to be able to do that, on a daily basis. But they do want to be able to know that if they are ever attacked, there's something that they can do. And like my son, we've talked about this. I can't train my son. I can't, Francis, because I'm mom. I'm the woman who gives him discipline when he's done something wrong. I'm the one who soothes him when he doesn't feel good,
Right.
That respect that you have to get from a martial arts student, I can't do that with my son. And I'm not saying that to say, there's something wrong with me. I just can't. There's so many different aspects of our lives that we've gone through. It just doesn't come through with us.
Of course, I agree with that.
Do I still teach him some basic things? Sure. Like when we talk about, he's just graduating high school. He walks the stage next week, okay? High school and junior high were the scariest times for me because I was thinking, oh my God, this is where the school shootings go and everything else. Anything can happen. You get locked down and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? I stressed to my son so many times, we would have this conversation, if not once a month, at least twice a month. What do you do if there's a shooting in your school? And of course, the school wants him to, hunker down in place, lock the doors, hide in the corner, and stuff like that. My rule, and this was drilled into his head over and over again, is you run. You hear gunfire coming from the left, you run right. You get out of that school. You do what you got to do to get out of there. I don't care if you get suspended the next day because you left school grounds and whatever the case may be. You're still alive, and that's the most important part.
Mm-hmm. Right. Did you teach him? Did you tell him how to run?
Oh, you mean with zigzag? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good.
That he's 100% knowledgeable of the fact that it's harder to hit a moving target, especially when they're moving back and forth. When he was 14 years old in Rhode Island, he actually went to the gun range for the work Rhode Island Police Department do a gun range for kids, and they
I'll be right back.
Aware of that. Don't go down the dark alleys. Stay with friends. So even those little things, we're learning self-defense without even learning self-defense.
I like to call it practicing self-protection.
Yep.
But that's me, that's, being on the proactive, being, it's like Miyagi said, best block, don't be there. Don't be there.
No, I mean, but
are you with me? I'm sorry, what?
No, but that's the thing. It's like when you're, my number one rule for defense, just like Mr. Miyagi's, don't be there, right? I mean, it tells you if that means don't be there, meaning running away, then it's the best one, But then to apply actual martial arts to it, you're learning how to step away, step to the side, step back, kind of stuff, right? That's that's part of it. So, but as far as defense is concerned, it's kind of like they just want to learn something really quickly. There is nothing that you can really learn quickly that could be sufficient enough to protect you. Even if you wanted to get a gun, right? You still need to be trained, and it's not going to be a 2-minute training.
No.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a 2-minute training. So you have to put some energy and effort to it if you really value your self-worth. I mean, your safety. Sorry. If you really value your safety, you have to put some time into it. You have to put some thought into it, right? And some commitment to it. And if you're not, well then, that's on you. I'm not going to force it, but that's on you.
Yeah.
So.
I also say there's the mindset, and I don't know, Sandy, if you knew that, but Francis knows this because I explained it to him. A lot of times, like I tell women, especially if they have children, to go into mother mode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
can I tell you guys a story about? All right, go on. I'm talking more.
Yeah. Like so, there was one seminar. It was at the World Karate Union Hall of Fame. That's actually, I was the one teaching it, and there was this mother and daughter. The daughter was like 18, right, and she was a second dan in Kajukembo. Her mother was not a martial artist, but she joined the seminar because for the daughter. So I took the mother and the daughter, and I put the daughter behind the mother, and then I called out this Pupkido guy, right? I gave the mother a knife, and then I said to the mother, I said, excuse me, I'm going to be a little graphic with you. And I said, this perpetrator here wants to kidnap, rape, and kill your daughter. And the only thing that's preventing him from doing that is you. And she had the knife, right? And like I always say, one of the most deadliest, or one of the most dangerous animals in the animal kingdom is a mother protecting its young. So I always say, like, have that mindset, especially not only protecting, because I got this from my girlfriend Daniela. She said, if anything happens to me, what's going to happen to my children?
Yep.
Because she was a single parent, and she had 2 daughters. So I added that on to the mindsets. Like I say, like, if something happens to you, what's going to happen to your kids?
Right.
Yeah, so you have that
This is
too.
a story. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
This is a story that I had told, a teacher of mine, and he used it to teach other students. Now, at the time, I was already a martial artist. I had my second dan from my, first instructor. My son, so 17 years ago, almost 18 years ago, was 6 weeks old. We were walking around a Food Lion just outside D.C. because I was military wife, right? And there was this woman following me. She didn't have a basket, she didn't have a buggy. It's just every aisle I was going down, she seemed to be there. I thought she was security, right? Because I had baby stuff, right? My son was in his infant car seat carrier in the big part of the carriage, the big part of the carriage. And when I confronted her, I turned to her and I said, "I'm sorry, is there a problem?" Figuring I'm going to call out security. This woman says to me, because my son's father is Latino, it's obvious he's adopted. If I took him now, no one would ever question it. And she reached down and she grabbed the handle of his carrier and began to pull up. I grabbed the handles and I pushed down and started screaming every bit of profanity at the top of my lungs to get people to hear it. Now, when I tell that story, and for the untrained martial artists, and this is what my instructor would bring it up for, their first thoughts were, a lot of them were like, "You're trained, why didn't you kick her ass? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that?" Right? And the reason being is because anything could have happened where if I messed up, she could have gotten away with my child.
Yep.
So the safest thing for me to do was to make sure my child didn't leave that carriage. And that's what I did. The safest thing for me to do to protect my son. And so that's the thing that, that leads even to the self-defense that we're talking about here is it doesn't have to be glamorous. It doesn't have to be years of practice. It doesn't have to be, it's the thought process of what am I going to do to get out of this alive or to make sure that we're all safe. And like you said, the mother mode kicks in. You tell me you're going to hurt my child, I feel for you,
Oh, yeah. It's on like Donkey Kong. That's what I, so.
I feel for you,
So, I mean, there's 3 things that only scares me, right? It's mothers, mother-in-laws, and mother nature. Okay?
Right, mothers?
Mother-in-laws and mother nature.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Because they're just ferocious, and they should be. That's the truth of the matter is they should be. Remember, like I mentioned, my first year of living in America, going to school, I got bullied every day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of those instances, I had 8 guys ready to jump me, and my mom ran across campus swinging an umbrella, right, and hitting every one of those kids, right?
I like it.
And I'm like, wow, my mom's a stick fighter. You know, she was doing the payong block, you know, the umbrella block, literally. But no, she's like, and then, you know, as we got home, she was kicking my ass, like, why didn't you fight back? I'm like, oh my goodness, really? I'm like, she's crazy. So, but ultimately, that was the thing. It's like, you know, what are you going to do to defend the people you love, right? Yeah. I think that there's a more inherent, and Fergie and Sandy, you guys already said this. There's something more inherent that's more visceral and more, in a sense, more animalistic when we find out that our loved ones are in danger.
Yeah.
You know,
as opposed to ourselves.
Yeah, that is so true. That's a good point, because don't you ever feel like I'm more tolerant you're more tolerant when it's like the threat is against you, but if the threat is against your loved ones, then
you're like, oh no, you didn't. Oh, you didn't. Yeah. No, I mean, that was the thing. It's like I have 11 grandnieces and grandnephews. I'm a grandfather, like I mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. And you know, my oldest, when she was about 4 or 5 years old, she saw that movie Harry Potter, and when the dragon came out, she was watching it with her dad and her aunts and uncles. When the dragon scene came out, she was screaming, and they had to leave the movie theater, right? Well, fast forward to about a month later or a couple months later, I wanted to see that movie, How to Train the Dragon, right? So there's dragons in this movie now, right? So before we went inside the movie theater, I said, Caitlin, I just want you to know, when you're with me, with your Lolo, there's never any reason for you to be scared, right? And it's like, and then so as soon as we saw the movie, she came out, and she's like, oh my God, the movie was so dumb. And I looked at her, I'm like, you weren't scared? And she looks at me like, you know, that condescending mode, which is like, why? You were there. I never felt more like a man until that moment, where my little girl felt safe around me, right? She could just be a little kid, and then so now, every time I hear somebody messing with one of my babies, I'm just like, I'm on full attack mode. You know, I'm on full attack mode. But when they attack me, no, yeah, go ahead, keep attacking me. Yeah. When I hear somebody like making fun of my students, oh, it's on like Donkey Kong, right? I will. I'm like, no, you don't talk to them like that. Who told you can talk to them like that, right? So I will. I mean, I'm a very firm believer, like that we all have that maternal, in a sense, that maternal protection, where with somebody that we love, no way, not gonna happen, not under my watch, kind of thing, right? And I think that's the key difference there. It's like when I'm teaching, you know, in that heart and target system. What if it's you? Okay, all right, it's you. But what if it's your baby? What if it's the person you care about the most? What if it's your mom? What if it's your dad who are old already? What are you gonna do, right? And that's when it's like, okay, now, do you think 2 minutes worth of training is enough to protect them?
That's why that's why, you know, we got to teach the mindset too.
Exactly. It's always the mindset first. In my opinion, it's always the mindset first.
Well, maybe that's our new way of teaching self-defense. When we have our self-defense book, the woman comes to us, say, okay, great. Now I want you to think of yourself as your child. You're looking at it like they're attacking your child. What are you going to do?
Right.
So to get that feeling of, oh my God, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my God, I'm lost in it. I lost it.
Protective instinct?
Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue. The urgency. There you go. The urgency. This is something I need to do right now and end this. You know?
Right.
You know?
Well, yeah, it's like, you know, if something happens to you, what's going to happen to your kids? You know,
yep.
That's the thing. It's like, you know.
Are you gonna make them an orphan?
Yeah, I think you know, that mind thought that we're talking about. I'm sorry, friend, but that mind thought would be great for you know, promoting your school, or trying to get more students in, or saying like, you know, are you you know, do you have the ability to protect yourself and your loved ones? You know, I think
as a marketing person, I don't disagree that there's some value to that, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't, in my experience, you're not gonna get the long-term students that way.
No, because that's buying them with fear. That's baiting them with fear.
Exactly, and it's the propaganda of fear never really goes. It doesn't last very long. It's you have to give them a propaganda of hope, and the benefits of martial arts, and then that's when you have the long-term students. So that's just my opinion.
It makes sense. I'm not a marketing person, but that makes total sense. I mean, so, like Joe said, the mind's like a parachute. It works best when it's open.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. So,
and that's why we have these discussions, which I love. Sharing of ideas.
I would hope that if someone's listening to this that's not in the mindset of martial artists, that they are hearing something tonight that they can take with them. And we have come up with a lot of ideas, all these different ways to think about the choices you're making and change that up a little bit.
Right.
That's going to help people out there. And you know what? Let me tell you something right now. The long-term student is the student you're going to get off of this, that listens to this podcast or whatever you call it, and then actually has to put to use one day something they heard on this talk. They're going to be the ones that come running in and telling you, let me tell you what happened and how it worked. And that'll be the student that train me, and that's how you want to bring people in.
And I completely agree with you. So I hope whoever's listening to this podcast, and if you're in the Riverside or Inland Empire in Southern California, I'm at fmaschool.com. Yep. So,
I will. You know what? When I put this up, when I edit it, I'll type it on there.
I appreciate it. FMA School. I'll send you the links. We just copy and paste, brother.
Yeah.
So
we help each other out. That's where we're a family. You guys are our family. Well, I'll wrap this up, and then I want you to hear the story too, Sandy, because you'll appreciate it. All right. So I just want to thank everybody out there. We had a great conversation with my friends Sandy and Francis, and again, we will meet you guys back here, same Falcon time, same Falcon channel. Good night, everybody, and have a great weekend. Say good night, guys. All right, let me